First question for you, is it painful?
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it's painful. I think there's a little S&M in me because I really enjoy doing
Oh
it.
my gosh.
This is the Transparency Podcast Show with hosts Shelby Chang and Michelle Herman from Long Beach, California, where we bring you life transformation stories, business, investment, personal development, entertainment, and more.
Hello. Welcome back to Transparency Podcast Show. This is Shelby Chang.
And this is Michelle Herman. And we have a very special guest for you today. Someone that knows me rather intimately. My electrolysis, Paula Grippi, is here. And so we wanted to talk a little bit about the stages that we have to go through during our transition, and specifically in this case, electrolysis. So Paula, welcome to the Transparency Podcast Show.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Very good. Well, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started in this, specifically with trans people, because you have a large trans population.
Yes, I do.
That you work with.
I started electrology about 15 years ago, and little did I know I was going to enjoy doing hair removal. When I originally started, I was bored out of my mind. I was like, I hate doing this. This is horrible. Really? This is not fun. I'm a hairdresser, actually, for 30 years. So I wasn't sure I wanted to do electrolysis until a very good friend of mine who happened to be a state board examiner for electrologists said, think of it as a way to help people with an issue of unwanted hair. So because I hadn't thought of that sort of mindset, instead of it being a process, then I started thinking about people who had issues. And there's a lot of hair issues that people have. And so with that mindset, I started doing hair removal, and I was very, very excited. I said, this is really cool because people really needed to have hair removed. Yes. Now, as for the trans population individuals, I was doing hair for people at Kaiser Permanente. Okay. And I'm doing, fixing their hair and coloring it and cutting it and making them look beautiful. And they had approached me and said, we're going to start a program for transgenders, and so we can do surgeries, but we need hair removal. Would you be interested? So I met with the docs and the people in power, and we started talking about how long they thought it would take and, what's all involved, and that's how I got involved. Wow, so I was at the beginning of their program.
Wow, very cool. So, I did not know that. Yeah. It's exciting. You helped create it. Very good. What percentage of your population, of your clients, are trans, do you think?
Currently, I would say about 80% of my population are transgender.
Very good.
Folks.
And Shelby is thinking about doing electrolysis.
I want to ask you, what's the difference between LASIK and electrolysis?
Laser and electrolysis?
Yeah, because I actually did laser before, and I don't have any problems for many, many years. And somehow I don't know what happened. It just started growing back.
Started growing
on
back.
My facial, yes.
Well, laser and electrolysis are both very, very effective for hair removal. And laser has its advantages and disadvantages. One of the things about laser, if you have melatonin-rich skin, which there's a Fitzpatrick scale, 1 through 6, 1 being very light skin, 6 being very dark skin. If you have very melanin-rich skin, which would be Fitzpatrick scale, say 4, 5, and 6, laser isn't necessarily compatible for you. Or if you have blonde hair, red hair, or white hair, clear hair, laser won't work. Laser is an awesome way to get rid of hair if you have the right skin tone and the right hair color. I prefer that somebody go and start with laser and get the majority of the hair removed and then come for electrolysis to have the rest of the hair taken care of. But both very effective methods.
Okay, so my first question for you, is it painful?
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it's painful. I think there's a little S&M in me because I really enjoy doing it.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, it's painful. You can use a numbing cream. You can have your doctor prescribe a compound pharmacy to do a prescription strength numbing cream that's good. Currently, there are a lot of facilities, if they have a nurse on staff or doctor on staff, they'll do lidocaine injections. And those are very effective.
Okay.
Which Kaiser does, however, not in Long Beach yet. They do it in West LA, but so I looked into this, but I'm not able to drive after the shot from West LA here to have electrolysis done because I don't know why. Maybe I couldn't fill the gas pedal or something.
No. You actually could do it. It's pretty cool. I have some colleagues in other areas that actually do the lidocaine injections. Yeah. And you can work for up to 4 or 5, 6 hours, that's say, amazing. And get a complete clearing. Yeah. In a lot of cases. So I just haven't figured out how to bring that into the facility because you would have to be a nurse or a doctor doing the actual injections.
Yeah. So how long is typical one session?
Okay.
Or does it vary?
Well, it varies. It really varies. I typically have my clientele come in once a week for an hour because usually at about an hour you hit a wall and with the pain and you can't handle it.
Or
Some
45
people
minutes.
or 45 minutes. Some people can handle longer sessions, but usually about an hour.
Okay. So how, like, for example, if I start today, how long do I need to go for this procedure?
Okay. Usually with the genital area, you take anywhere from 18 to 24 months to completely do a clearing in the site that they need to do the surgery.
Okay.
And that's pretty typical.
How about for facial hair?
Facial really depends. I've gone anywhere from 150 hours to 450 hours. It's all determines the density, per square inch. How much hair do you have? Okay. And have you previously treated the hair? We have a lot of people that haven't liked their hair, so they've done tweezing. Then you get what we call a distorted follicle, and it just takes much longer time to work. But I'd say faces take longer.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you were explaining to me the cycle. Was it about a 3-month cycle for the hair to regrow?
Let's talk about the hair in the face versus the hair on the body. The hair in the face usually takes about 16 weeks for one hair to complete a cycle. And what I mean by a cycle is each hair has 3 stages. Anagen attached to the root, catagen detached from the root, and it starts to migrate up the follicle. Then there's a resting stage called telogen. Now, the hair, in order for it to be completely destroyed, whether it's laser or electrolysis, has to be destroyed in the anagen stage that's attached to the follicle. In that 16-week period, the root is only attached to the follicle for 4 weeks. So 1 month attached to the, where you could actually destroy it. Now, there's techniques that you can do within the process where you can try to insert the probe, because that's what we're doing, is we insert a probe into the follicle, apply a small amount of electricity, if that's the method that we're using, because there's 3 different methods. And you can go even a little bit lower, push it to where the follicle would be developing and attempt to destroy that. So it's really about how you do it. So it's a guessing game. So if you do the algorithms, the hair I treat today, let's say it's at the beginning stage, that's going to take 4 months for that same hair to come back. So that's why the long length of time. And even with laser, it takes about 12 sessions, but you're 6 to 8 weeks apart.
Yeah. So you have to monitor the cycle to see what grows back or what doesn't, to know what needs to continue to be cleared.
Ideally, what you want to do is do a complete clearing and then keep that clearing up, because as a new hair emerges, what happens is baby hair. The baby hair has got a very short length to it, and the small hair follicle, much easier to destroy than something that's gotten longer and deeper.
Very good. And so,
if that makes sense.
So I know with me, you use different size probes at different times. So there are multiple sizes. Is that based on the size of the follicle, or how does that work? Yes.
What you want to do is, if you have very fine hair, you want to use a thinner probe. If you have a thicker hair and a thicker follicle, you want to use a thicker probe. So it's based on what hair you're working on. So the face on the hair versus the hair on the genital area could be different in different areas. Yeah.
Okay.
Is there any other areas that people will ask you to do for your service?
Well, I'll do face and I'll do the genital area or the surgery site. And the doctor will determine, based on the type of surgery that you're going to have, the area that needs to be cleared. There's a slight difference between doctors on what area, on the actual area that they want the hair removed from for the surgery site. I have a lot of girls that come to me, and I will approach them about their eyebrows. Eyebrows are like a frame on a picture. A picture without a frame isn't as pretty, but a picture with a frame, it can just showcase it. So I really like to do eyebrows and help girls determine what kind of shape of eyebrow would look, say, best for their face. So I will always approach that, and I love doing eyebrows.
Okay, that's interesting.
It's going to be painful. I can imagine it.
Actually, it's less painful.
Really? Interesting.
I did wax before. It's kind of, I don't know, strange feeling.
Rip your skin.
Yeah, like,
Right. Exactly. So the science is you're actually, with the probe, you're putting that into the follicle, and how much electricity do you give it to stun it enough to not regrow?
Well, we're actually destroying the tissue and the hair follicle so that it doesn't grow again. As far as the amount, you try to do something. Ideally, I want to do maybe 1 or 2 taps, because I use my foot to tap on the applying the electricity.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. And then there's intensities, and so based on how sensitive is your skin, how dense is the hair, how deep is the hair, different areas in the body will have different depths, so that will determine what I'm going to use or what modality I'm going to use.
Okay, interesting. Very good. And so most of your patients, do you think they go 45 minutes to an hour? I know you do have some that can handle much longer. What's kind of an average?
Mostly the average is an hour session. But I do have some clients that will go for 2 hours, and maybe we'll do an hour on the face and the beard area and then an hour, on the genital area. Just kind of how you're feeling that day.
Yeah, I think my wall starts around 40 minutes. And there's one time, we were talking about this Thursday, one time, probably about 3 weeks ago, for some reason, it didn't bother me as much. Oh. And I don't know, I wasn't drunk or anything, so I don't know exactly what it was, but I was able to handle it a little bit better.
Wow.
But then next time I'm really sensitive again. So it's very interesting how that changes.
A couple factors play into, I usually say, make sure you're very hydrated. So a couple days before, you want to drink a lot of water, especially the day you have no caffeine. No caffeine. Caffeine stimulant will make you a lot more sensitive.
Interesting.
You do a combination of whatever Tylenol, aspirin combination will work. It just all factors play in. If you're stressed or the end of your day or you've had a stressful day, it could be more painful also.
Okay. Yeah. Very interesting. Wow. So let me ask you a little bit more of a community question. Because I know we've talked about this before, why are you drawn to work with the trans community, with our community? Why do you work with us?
What I've found out through the process, and I've been working with the trans community for 10 years now, such appreciation for the work that I do. They're so happy to have the hair removal. It's more of an appreciation, and you develop a relationship. Yeah, totally. And I really admire all that you have to go through to get to become the authentic you. And I am an intricate part of that.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
I feel very fortunate to be able to do this. Yeah. I was going to say, I've been coined as the transgender midwife, by some people. And, I have the privilege of helping and facilitate this beautiful journey for transgender gender transition and help bring you into this new world. It's a rite of passage. The transition is a sacred place and self-development and growth, and it's a journey of rebirth and a passage into a new life.
Right.
And I get to be part of that process. So I'm very, very happy and very proud that I get to be part of the transition that y'all get to go through.
And for me, you've been such a big part. I remember some of my first times I was so nervous and scared and unsure of myself. And then to how our relationship has developed and the encouragement you've been for me has been amazing. And and that you've been there every step of the way and in a very intimate, sometimes awkward place.
Well, I want to provide a safe and comfortable healing space that allows you to feel comfortable. I mean, many clients are in that cocoon stage where they're not there and they're not here.
Right.
So I want my space to feel like you're sort of in the middle, and there's magic in the middle. And I am very happy to be able to provide that sort of space for everybody, but especially I've developed so many great friendships that have lasted way beyond surgery, way beyond my electrolysis, and it's been just wonderful.
Right.
So
I come into some after sometimes with our appointments with ladies that are before me that you've known for years and years, and you guys are singing and joking and having just all kinds of fun. And electrolysis, I would not say is fun, but if you can find a electrologist that makes it fun, it's so much better. So I have to say, I don't necessarily like doing what I come to do, but because you're there, it makes it so much better.
Oh,
and
thank
so
you.
it makes it bearable for sure.
Yeah. So, where can people find you? Are you on social media? Where's your facility at?
Well, I actually rent space at Sherry and James Salon in Long Beach, California. And Sharon, prior to me coming to work in her facility, I've been there for about 10 years. She had another electrologist there for 12 years. So they've been used to having an electrologist.
Okay.
So that's where I'm hanging out, and I love it. So.
This episode is brought to you by KitCaster. KitCaster books you on top podcasts. How do funded startup founders attract prospects and talent? Podcast interviews. How do entrepreneurs with exits find new deals? Podcast interviews. How do C-suite execs differentiate in crowded markets? Podcast interviews. KitCaster books you on top podcasts. Click the link in the show notes for a special offer. Celebrate good conversation.
And you've done something different the last few weeks, maybe even a month now, with the state. And so that's been a fascinating, and I'm glad that we live in a state like California compared to some of the things that are happening in states. But tell us how you're working with the California state prison system.
Well, I was approached by the California state prison system to work with transgender folks who are incarcerated and are going to go through transition and need hair removal. And so I agreed to work with the facility, and they bring their inmates to me, and they're transitioning and need to have surgery prep. And it's been wonderful. They're so thankful that they have a space to go to. And I think it's about acceptance.
Right.
Yes. It has really changed my opinion about people in general.
Right.
If you're in need and it's something I can serve you with, I am there for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Exactly. So you have inmates coming from, where do they come from?
Well, different facilities throughout, without naming where the prisons are.
But Southern California area.
Yeah, Southern California area, and they bring, they're transported to me.
To the salon.
And I do it on a day that the salon isn't terribly busy because it's a little intimidating to other clients.
Gotcha.
Because
there's security guards there.
Yeah, there's two security guards that bring the inmates to me, and then they come in for 2 hours, and they're just so happy to have the opportunity to have hair removal and then to be able to go through surgery. So that's something new for me.
Yeah, very good. And will this will continue for a while, right?
I hope so.
Yeah, it seems like the way it's going. So
right. Yeah. So, how if I'm going to visit your service for the first time, how does it start? Do I get a consultation first?
Well, normally when you get to the stage where you know you're going to have hair removal, you've pretty much gone through all of your prep through,
Right.
psychological preparation.
Yes.
The surgeon will tell you, the area. You've gone way through your transition, and now it's physically having to have your hair removed. But yes, I'll have you come in the first time, fill out paperwork. The most important thing is for you to feel comfortable. Everybody's, it's like nobody wants to take their clothes off. And I have, a sheet or something you can have. Actually, it's a cashmere blanket that you can wrap around yourself. And maybe, I'm telling you after about we're 30 minutes into it, you don't care. So people come in, rip off their clothes, jump on the bed, and I've got a really comfortable bed. If you need heat or cooling or whatever, or an ice pack, and then the goal is to make you feel as comfortable as possible. And sometimes it takes a little while. Now, with that being said, I want people to feel safe. So many people have shame about having a penis, or, it depends if you're, MDF or FDM.
Right.
So they're so ashamed and they hate it and they just have all this distrust. The biggest thing I want to convey to you is your subconscious mind believes what you say to it. You start loving that. That's going to be your new vagina.
Yes.
I'm helping you. I want you to love all your body parts, because we're transforming.
Right.
So
literally and figuratively. Right.
Yeah. So I want to convey that. I want you to feel comfortable. I want you to start thinking in a different way. I don't know if Michelle explained to you, I have things on my ceiling when you're laying down and looking up, all positive affirmations and things. If you get one thing out of being there that makes you think perhaps in a different light, or gives yourself positive reinforcement, then I've created something for you that day.
Yeah, it is empowering. It's part of our journey to be who we're supposed to be. And that doesn't make it fun or less painful. It still hurts like hell, but it's part of the journey. And I would go, as many times as I had to get it done, what I need to get done. So yeah, it's kind of an important part of that.
Well, and the other thing is if I can get you to talk and tell me a story and keep talking and talking, the pain is like half of what you think it is. If you concentrate on the pain, it's going to be more painful. Right. So come in with a story. Give me a story. Talk to me.
Yeah, and you're such a great talker too. You bring that out. We talk about everything from astrology to she also rescues hummingbirds. So she talk about birds. We talk about family. Talk about everything. Yeah. And so makes it fun.
It's neat because I've developed so many great friendships and so many relationships with people that I know I'll have a lot of these friends for a lifetime.
Yeah. You're stuck with us for a while.
Yay.
Now, if you're planning on bottom surgery, which some people do, some people don't, it's depending on what they feel comfortable with, and that's great, whatever situation. Now, have had friends that have come in early, even before transition, to start working on their face. Is there a kind of a timeline that you might suggest that, or just whenever you can, or whenever the finances are there, or insurance kicks in?
There's two factors, time and money. Okay. That's pretty much it. Do you have the finances to afford to do this? Do you have an insurance plan that works for you? A lot of people I'll talk to prior to, maybe it might be a year or 6 months prior to them even going in for a consultation, what do they do? And I really like facilitating that sort of a conversation to get them think, what insurance do you have? Where have you coordinated with your transgender coordinator to find out what is covered, what's not covered? Then find out if it's something that I can do the billing for, or are you going to get reimbursed? What super bills do I have to do? So I have people that will come to me 2 years prior to them even doing anything, or a year prior to, and I'll just kind of walk them through what they can do in the meantime. Right. And that seems to help. And they always come back.
Yeah. Because I know I've had friends that have done that, and prior to even maybe if they not sure that they're going to fully transition, but they start that anyway, because that is a source of dysphoria. And so then I'm kind of like, man, I wish I would have started earlier too. But
Everybody says that. I think everybody.
But I mean, I have Kaiser personally, and so I'm very thankful for what they cover and how easy. And then that's how I connected with you, is through Kaiser. They gave me some options in my area, really 2 options in my area, and you were the closest. So I'm glad I chose you.
I'm glad you chose me too, because I love you.
So I'm going to choose her then.
Yes, I highly recommend her.
Yeah.
So what would you have other, since you've seen such a spectrum of our journeys, what words of encouragement or advice would you have for someone that's just starting out?
Oh, goodness. Just, I would say, continue your journey. This is something that, be authentic to yourself.
Yeah.
If this is something you're thinking about doing, reach out. There's so many places you can reach out and talk to others to find out what it is that you need to do. Call me. Anybody. I mean, there's so many resources now. And just go forward, move forward. Don't stop. Don't run. Don't walk.
Yeah, right.
Step by step.
Exactly. Yeah. So you would be open to people contacting you via social media or email to just ask questions?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Especially when it comes to what they need to do in maybe locating a surgeon, or even with electrolysis, even if you're not in the area. I have lots of friends that do this work in other areas across the country that, we all network.
Awesome.
So
very good.
Yeah. Reach out.
Yes.
Reach out to, everybody.
Yes. Yeah, and I know that Paula is on some forums, Facebook groups that she responds to when people have questions and stuff. So she is very available and accessible to that. And you would offer a free consultation, right?
Absolutely.
Mention the podcast and
mention the podcast. Come in for a free consultation. Kind of get an idea of where you're going, and maybe adjust your thinking in a different way. And that's sometimes what you need to do is adjust how you approach things, just in general.
And just to answer questions, because I think I came in with a very not knowing what to expect, and just so everything was a question. And you've been so good about answering those and kind of helping create a pathway that is comfortable, not painless, but comfortable. That's kind of the theme, I guess, today. But it's amazing. And so thank you. Thank you for being my person.
Thank you.
Well, we all have our journeys, and whatever journey you're on is important and valid. And we want to encourage you in that, to be safe, to reach out, to find a place that you have support and community. That's, again, the purpose of this podcast, is to build community in our group. And so reach out to Paula. There's different stages of your journey that you'll find yourself on, and there'll be people like her that'll be available to you. So reach out. Hopefully you'll find someone in your area that is as great as Paula has been for me, and to provide with you all the services and encouragement that you need. So thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for having me.